Right, everybody, welcome back to the Wolfpack podcast. It's episode 5 now. It's going so rapid. I'm joined by Bill. How you doing, mate?
I'm all good. It's good to be on the podcast, mate. All good.
Yeah, good to have you, man. You've been on the YouTube before, haven't you? But this is your
Yeah,
debut on the podcast. Only two
yeah,
of us
like,
today. Only two of us today, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So let's start with West Ham, Bill. For me, I thought it was quite an even first half, actually. I think
yeah,
it was very much us on the attack, on the dominance. West Ham sitting back quite negatively. They definitely come for the draw, didn't they? It was just like
yeah, definitely.
really negative. I was quite
Mm,
surprised. I know David Moyes' ball ain't the one, but flip me, they were so negative. It was crazy. It must be awful
Yeah,
as a West Ham fan. And then so it was quite even. We had a few chances, but I can't remember any clear cut ones sort of thing. To be honest with you, but
yeah,
when it comes to the second half, we started off as well as you want to. Really, with Pedence scoring that goal quite early on. It was a big goal into the game because let's be honest, it was a must win, wasn't it?
yeah,
And
definitely. It was massive.
it was massive, and we really needed that sort of thing. So I'm really pleased with Bedence. He scored 42% of Wolves' goals this season. He gets his stick, doesn't he, for the little flicks and that,
Mm,
but he's a
But
big player when it comes to goals for
oh
this
yeah,
side, isn't he?
I think that game said it all really with that goal. Like how big of a player he is. I mean,
Mm,
that says it all as well. It's quite like scary to if you think about it, knowing like it's pretty much nearly half of our goals scored from
yeah,
one player.
and he ain't even a
Um,
striker.
I know, I know, and that's where we're not going to yet, but we'll go on to like the transfers and
Yeah,
the
you could
players that we
definitely
need.
argue a striker's needed because they
Yeah,
can't hit a barn door with a banjo, can they? Whatever the saying is. And when it comes to Antonio as well, like a lot of links before the game about him possibly joining Wolves,
yeah,
and let's just say he didn't really impress on his
no,
his
we didn't.
cameo appearance. I thought he was pretty poor, to be honest, bit poor touches and that. But yeah, really happy with the result. I thought we deserved the win for a start.
Yeah,
Okay, they put pressure on at the end, but they're always going to, aren't they, when it's 1-0 sort of thing?
yeah,
You're always
you
going to
get that.
sort of sit back, invite it. And apart from that, where Collins tried to shield the ball and Ben Brahma had that half chance, I don't
Yeah,
think they didn't really have that many big chances. Sarr didn't really have to make a big save that you thought, thank God he saved that sort of thing.
yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts. What are you saying, Bill, about the West Ham game, mate?
So yeah, I mean, you've said well, your point of view is like covered a lot of it really. I mean, with the
Mhm.
Pedence goal, that was class. A bit of luck went our way with the goal. I mean, with the
Yeah, how it
Nunez pass,
deflected to
but
him. Yeah, yeah,
I think every Wolves fan would know they're going to take that all day.
100%.
We looked like we were going to score more than West Ham anyway. They looked really pony in front of goal, and that's why they're in the position they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, ever since we've had Lopetegui as a manager, we've looked more of a threat, more attacking,
100%.
and yeah, I think with the new signing that's come in, hopefully it should make change the attack a bit more, make us more attacking, like we're going to score more because that's
Mm-hmm.
what we need really. We're just lacking goals. It's that
100%.
simple.
100%.
So yeah, that's all I've got to say on the West Ham game really. But good performance and 3 points are 3 points.
100%, and that's all we needed at the end of the day, isn't it? So let's go
Yeah,
into the game against Liverpool last night for us
yeah,
recording. Frustrating game. I thought we started off well for sort of 5-10 minutes, sort of before their goal. Really, I thought Adama was a huge threat. Obviously, his first cross of the game, the lights went off, but
yeah.
apart from that, it was he
You're
was a big
right.
threat. Look, he was sort of looking for the ball over the top to him every time, and he was sort of 1v1 every time, so it was working really well. Um, he was getting a lot of slack, Adama, like slagging him off a lot on Twitter, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But for me, it was our biggest threat. Like I completely understand his end product is frustrating at times, but for me, if we didn't have Adama that game, I think we would have barely created anything or barely had any
yeah,
threat in the attacking third. And a lot of the time, when he was sort of driving down the line, our strikers or attacking players, so Ait Nouri, Jimenez, anyone like that, they weren't even in the box.
no, they
And,
won't.
I understand his crosses aren't great half the time, but if he does whip in a good ball, you didn't have anyone there because I understand Jimenez drops deep as a striker, but, a lot of the time he's
Yeah,
drifting off to the wing. And for me, he has to be in the box. Um,
yeah,
Obviously, when it comes to the Liverpool goal, it was a poor goal to concede, to be honest, on all
yeah,
parts. Saar, defence, I think you can't be backing off Elliot like that. And then the way he's just lobbed Saar, it reminded me of a FIFA goal. Like he
yeah,
just got under the ball. Saar is way too far off his line on his bloody birthday as well. He's
yeah.
way too far off his line. And it's a good strike. Don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't be getting beaten from there. It's gone over
No.
him at the end of the day. So yeah, and then second half, Liverpool were defending for most of it, weren't they? To be
Yeah, they
honest.
were.
But the thing that I noticed is Liverpool's the amount of chances Liverpool had. They had the goal, then they had the one that was offside, and then they had the
Yeah.
Curtis Jones one in the second half where he just put it
Yeah.
wide. You think of the
Yeah.
chances they created compared to us, it was quite minimal. I think
Yeah.
the XG, like we had way more XG than them, but the
Mhm.
chances they created were just so much better than ours. Like we didn't have a chance like that. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So it just shows the chance creation. It doesn't matter how many you create; it's about the
Yeah.
quality of the chances. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
we
Yeah.
was doing like a lot of balls into the box, a few shots from long range, like
Mm.
Adama where a rugby shot that was from Adama, and then
Oh yeah.
Cunha where it hit off his shin. But we just
Yeah.
didn't like, even though we had the better of the play, we just it was quite lackluster. And I thought a lot of the times of that game reminded me a bit of how we played under Bruno Lage, quite sideways, quite slow in possession, and no real like penetrating passes.
Yeah.
And what I do want to highlight is Ruben Neves, mate. I thought he was
Oh yeah.
unreal. I thought his passing
Yeah.
range, he was on it with his passing
Unbelievable.
range.
Yeah.
Shame he couldn't bag one of the free kicks, but his
Yeah.
passing was
Unbelievable.
unbelievable. I was really pleased with it.
Yeah.
Because a few, some games his passing's a bit off, but he's a class player at the end of the day. We're very
Yeah.
lucky to have him.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so yeah, it was a frustrating loss, but at the end of the day, the league's the priority, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
And
definitely. The league's the priority, really. I mean, I know we took we're out both cups, the Carabao and the FA Cup, but
within a week, yeah.
yeah, within a week. And if we go back to the Liverpool in the FA Cup, I mean, realistically, we shouldn't have even played that game.
100%.
Obviously, with the VAR and all the controversy that went on with that, but I'm not going to go into that because it's just not needed. But yeah, I mean, the Adama again. He was, he played well. Like I thought his confidence was class. He was getting balls into the box, but it was just a bit. The crosses were sometimes a bit lethargic. They weren't that good.
Definitely.
But it's good to see someone, getting balls into the box. But as I say, it's having the players in the box as well.
100%.
I've seen a post on Facebook. They sort of highlighted the players. One was Pedent's back post, where he was sort of like edge of the box, and you could clearly see Adama was going to take it with his right and whip it in, and he sort of just stood there. Where you should really, any player knows you should be running in, get in front of your man, trying to get to the ball first.
Attack the ball, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you've got also Jimenez as well, edge of the box. I mean, he does that quite a lot. Jimenez, he gets on the edge of the box, sort of like stunts his run, so he's got space to run into.
Yeah.
But I don't know, in those sort of games against those sort of teams, you need to just do whatever you can, and getting the ball in the box is always a key thing, especially with someone like Raul, who's good with his heading and stuff. He's got a lot of goals. But yeah, and staying on with the Liverpool game, the corners late on as well. I didn't really understand.
Don't get me started on them. The one at the end,
yeah,
was it Pedence and Nunes or something? And then they went for the 1-2, and Nunes' pass was like under here or something, or over here.
Yeah,
it just summed the game up, didn't it? It was so frustrating. Like, it done my head.
You should just be getting, like any other football game, any other team would, get a ball in the box late on. If you've got everyone up there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, what's the point of sending like your Collinses, your Totti Gomez, if they ain't even going to get a touch of the ball? They ain't even going to have anything to work with. You might as well just keep them on the halfway line so we don't get countered. It's crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what it is with the short corners, but we tend to do that a lot. Yeah, we
always love them.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It could almost be a blessing in disguise, really, if you think about it. 100%. I mean, less games to play, more preparation for the league. So, yeah, I'm not too fussed.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I would have liked to have salvaged a goal at the end and took it to extra time, but at the end of the day, I'm not really that bothered, to be honest. It is what it is. Yeah. You want to do well in the cup, but with the position we're in the league right now, I think that has to be the priority.
Yeah, definitely.
So on to that, we're going to sort of the recent transfer. I'm going to share my screen here. Can you see everything all right?
Yeah.
Should we go on to the tweet now? Cool. So just going to talk about the recent transfer stories, really. Nothing really else to say. My camera's going a bit stupid, but we can ignore that. So yeah, let's start with this one here. So we got talking about João Gomez, who's a player we've been heavily linked with the past few days.
Yeah,
Probably the past week or so actually. There was a point in time where it looked set that he was going to join Wolves, he was going to fly over, everything like that. Everything sort of seemed like he was going to be a Wolves player. It was just a matter of time. But recently, Lyon of the French club Lyon have tried to hijack the deal in the last minute, and that's not great news because Lyon have quite a rich history with getting players from the Brazilian league,
yeah,
and obviously they're offering more money. They're offering it in not in, we're offering it in five installments, I think. They're offering it
yeah,
up front sort of thing. They're offering more wages to João Gomez. So it's just not what Wolves wanted, really,
no,
hijacking the deal. And then, as you can see from the tweet here, it's actually Liam Keane said this today, I think it was. It's
yeah,
actually come out that Flamengo, the club that João Gomez plays for, they're actually ignoring everything that Wolves are trying to do. So they're ignoring their calls, any of their communication, which I just think is
oh,
baffling. Like, don't get me wrong, if João Gomez does go to Lyon, I'll be fuming, and I feel like it'll be a
yeah,
big missed opportunity. Because I think he could be a very good player, especially to have in the summer if we lose players. But
yeah,
you can't really blame the club that much if
no,
if Flamengo are not really picking up that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm all for like, blaming a club, but I just think I don't know. It's a bit. They've just been knobheads, aren't they? Really, Flamengo.
yeah,
Um.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
Um,
what are your thoughts on that, Bill?
well, yeah, I mean, he seems like a quality player. But yeah, I mean, Flamengo, with the whole communication thing, I just think it's a bit. I just think it's a bit disrespectful. I mean, they could be a bit more professional about it and be like, no, we sort of want to, stick with we're more focused on with like Leon. They've offered like a better deal,
Mm-hmm.
which you can just say, okay, fair enough. Leon have all basically done a Chelsea if you think about it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just a bit annoying, and I feel like João Gomez doesn't really know what's going on himself when he tweeted
Yeah,
that tweet. It's
yeah,
almost like he just doesn't have a clue what's going on.
100%.
But it seems like he wants to come to Wolves more than Leon.
Yeah,
From what I was reading anyway, it seemed like he was more convinced and wanted to join Wolves more. But yeah, I almost feel sorry for him because it's almost like, as I say, that it's like he doesn't know what he
he
what he
doesn't have a
wants to do.
Scooby,
Like,
does he?
yeah, he just doesn't
No.
know what's going on.
Yeah,
It is frustrating. But if things do go to like the worst, I'm sure we'll make some other signings, some other promising signings.
yeah.
So yeah,
It is what it is. I'll be very frustrated because we sort of had him within our grasp sort of thing, and it's just
yeah,
sort of gone downhill. Obviously, it always seems to happen to Wolves. It happened with a lad that's gone to Arsenal in the summer called Marquinhos, I think he is. He's a winger. Doesn't
yeah.
really
I
play
remember
for
that.
Arsenal, but
Yeah, I
we
remember
we had everything agreed to sign him, and Arsenal just come in last minute and completely mug us off, and we even
that.
threatened to take him to court or something like that. I remember that happening in the summer. That was
Yeah,
crazy,
that
but it
was
always seems to
crazy. That
happen to
was.
Wolves. It's like
Yeah,
it's annoying how clubs just last minute come in
yeah,
and when you don't get them flying over sort of thing, there's always a chance that a club could just come in. And I feel like Flamengo were almost waiting for a club to offer more than what Wolves
yeah.
did, which is
It was
bit
almost like
snaky,
stalled, wasn't
really,
it?
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit poor from them. But anyway, we'll move on to
yeah,
the next piece of transfer news. As you can see here, Connor Ronan. My
yeah,
camera's going dodgy again, but oh well. Connor Ronan looks set to join Colorado Rapids on a permanent signing. He's been at Wolves. I don't know how long he's been at Wolves really, but he's been at Wolves for a very long time it seems.
no, yeah,
And
yeah.
he just
Been up
seems
for
to
the academy.
he just seems to go on loan after loan after loan, and has never really had a permanent home. So I think that
Mm.
rhyme didn't mean to do that, but yeah, it seems like
Yeah,
he's been doing that for loads, and I'm glad that he's gonna have a permanent move away because I think he just needs it for his career. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I'm pleased that we've sort of found the club for him. Funny enough, we'll get to the tweet of the week in a bit, but this club is the same club that Jack Price plays for, which is pretty funny because
yeah,
that could be their midfield. But yeah, I'm
yeah.
pleased for Connor. I don't know what the transfer fee is. I don't think that's come out yet, but
No,
hopefully
it
it's
almost seems disclosed, doesn't it? But I'm sure
yeah.
it won't be.
I
But
hope
I'm happy for him because he seems like a
100%.
decent player. I mean, we played him a little bit in pre-season when we went. Was it to Spain? Did we go to Spain? Was it Spain?
Yeah, Spain, are
Yeah.
you?
So yeah, I've seen like a few bits of him, and I thought, yeah, he looks pretty decent. But again, he's never really had that like breakthrough with
All that
Wolves. He's always
opportunity,
had those
yeah,
loans.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good. It's good. It's sad that we might have missed out on a quality player, but a loan's a loan at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
you can't really do much about a loan. And now he's signed for a MLS side, so he'll
Yeah,
get the
I
game
think it's
time,
a
I'm
good,
sure.
yeah, it's a good league for him. Decent,
Yeah,
decent country, probably a nice standard of
yeah,
living, and he's going to get football at the end of the day. And
yeah.
fair play to him. I don't really have any
Yeah,
objections
fair
to
play.
it.
No,
Um,
neither.
let
Fair
me
play
just,
to him.
yeah, fair play to him. Let me just get the next tweet up here. I don't even know what the tweet is. To be fair, thinking about it, can't remember. I can't even see it. It's like I'm
It's
getting.
about
Here we go.
Sarabia.
I've got it. It's Sarabia. Yeah, perfect. So obviously we haven't really mentioned it, but Pablo Sarabia has signed for Wolves. He was announced before the Liverpool game last night, and to be honest with you, I'm really pleased with it. I think was the fee
Yeah,
4.5 mil, something like that. I think that's a bit
yeah,
of a
oh
bargain, to
yeah,
be honest with you. Considering the season he came off last year, 15 goals, 8 assists, I think it was in the Portuguese league on loan from PSG at Sporting, and
it's
that's really
class.
good because
Yeah,
he's a proven player, experienced player, and I think he offers creativity as well as goal scoring, and that's what we miss. I was talking at the Liverpool game about our sort of lack of chances created, and I think he could definitely add to that because our most creative player is probably Pedence, isn't it, really?
yeah,
And he's the one that's scoring the most for us, so you need someone to sort of help him. And I
yeah,
hope that I don't know where he'll play because he could play on the right in a 4-4-2 where Adama's been playing, but Lopetegui
yeah,
seems to like quite players that could sort of get up and down, quite sound defensively, because obviously Adama can do that when he wants to. But
mm,
Sarabia doesn't have those sort of defensive numbers, so I don't know if we'll
no,
play sort of a 4-3-3 and he'll be in the cam role, sort of where
yeah,
Matinho's been playing with that free midfield and Matinho looking like the man that's pushing up sort of thing. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it, and I think it's quite shrewd business from Wolves. 4.5 million,
yeah.
experienced
We
player.
might have got a steal there.
Yeah, a bit like reminds me a bit like Matinho. Clearly a player that Lopetegui likes because he was our number one target. And
Yeah,
yeah, I have no objections. What are your thoughts, Bill?
yeah, I'm really pleased. I mean, it's signings at the end of the day, so that automatically in my head shows that we want to progress, we want to make movements, and we want to go forward.
Mhm,
Because obviously the poor state that we're in at the minute,
mhm.
we just need to focus on the league and get up the league. So
Yeah, definitely.
making these attacking signings is great because it shows that yes, we haven't been scoring goals, but signing these top players, they clearly know that we need to start scoring more and getting up that league, being in a safe position. So yeah, I'm really pleased. And obviously going back to the season he's just had with Sporting,
Mhm,
the Portuguese league, it's a decent league, decent standard. And if
mhm.
he's getting those numbers, that's quality, and that's going to be it's going to be really good to see, and hopefully he can do that in the Prem. I mean, I know the Prem's a really competitive league, but I have full faith in him
Yeah,
because Nunes as well, coming from that league, he seems to hold his own. Um,
100%.
so I don't see why Sarabia can't. But yeah, really pleased, and we'll just see how he gets on.
Yeah, so I want to start with. So we're going to go on the tweet of the week now. I'm going to go to the tweet of the week. I found this one here from Davey Hop, and he says Jack Price and Connor Ronan, Colorado Rapids have the best centre mid pairing in the MLS. I couldn't agree more, to be honest. Jack Price, pretty good servant for this club.
Yeah,
When he left, no one really wished him any. They all wished him the best, sort of thing. Really good on the ball, that sort of thing. And
yeah,
yeah, it just made me laugh, really, thinking that they're going to be the
yeah,
midfield partnership in the MLS. And yeah, what do you think about this, Bill?
yeah. Quality. As I say, Jack Price was class. He I don't know why it reminded me of like a Bernardo Silva with his like sort of dribbling and like his
Yeah,
build. They sort of like the same. Um, but yeah, David might not be wrong. To be fair, we haven't really seen much of Conor Owen, but he looks like a decent player. And
yeah, he's a
Jack Price has got that experience, and they're both ex-Wolves players, so I'm sure they'll have somewhat of a
bit
link
of
up going
chem,
on
yeah,
anyway. So
hyperlink. But yeah,
yeah,
let me just stop this and turn my camera back on. I've been having a mare with that today. And yeah, let's get on to City. Um,
yeah,
let's preview City because we've got enough time left. Doing quite well on time. So when it comes to City, they're actually really for their standards. They've lost the last two, which for them, that's poor, isn't it? You never
Yeah,
really thought
really cool.
City would be losing their last two games. And within those last two games, they've only had one shot on target as well, which for City, that's terrible. And I think that was their goal against United, Jack Grealish.
Yeah,
So obviously, it's going to be a tough game. They could be sort of going for revenge sort of thing and slap us 6-0. But I like to think, we can hold our own. We could be solid defensively, and you just got to shut up shop and not concede early like we did when they come to Molineux, where Jack
yeah.
Grealish scored within a minute, and then obviously Collins gets the red. But you just can't be conceding that early against City.
No.
We just got to be sound and last as long as possible, really, because it's going to be a
Yeah,
tough game. But also have a threat of our own. Do you know what I mean? Like we did when we beat them when Adama scored those two goals. We need to really look to counter and look to, try to score ourselves, not just be negative the whole game, because that'll be,
yeah.
I just won't want to see that really if I'm watching the game. When it comes to my preferred lineup, I'm doing this on the spot, so if I bottle it, I bottle it.
That's right.
But so it'll be Sarr in goal, Semedo, Collins, Kilman, Bueno.
Yeah,
I think it has to be a midfield three, because if not, I think they'll just split through us.
yeah. I agree.
And it'll obviously be. I'd actually go Lamina, Nunes,
Yeah.
Neves.
Good point.
I don't mind who plays that sort of further forward role. Nunes did it under Bruno Lage and Steve Davis, but I think it was his wrong position.
Yeah,
And then front three, I'd probably go. I ain't bothered for striker, honestly. Costa or Raul. I've said this before. It's a mid off. I ain't bothered.
yeah,
And then on the wing, I think I'd have Adama just because he's an outlet.
yeah.
If
Agree.
obviously he's going to be playing against Cancelo most likely, who's obviously a tough opponent, but he's caused City problems before, and I don't see why he can't do it again. And then on the left, I don't know if Cunha can play there, but I think you just have to play Podence, and then I'll play
Yeah,
Cunha
you
down
have
the
to.
middle. So my
Yeah,
front three would be, it wouldn't be Raul Costa, it'd be Cunha, Podence, and Adama on the right. I might be missing someone out there, but I don't think I am. And so yeah.
no,
And then
fine,
when it
yeah.
comes to score prediction, I'm not gonna be negative because I think no one's gonna really predict a Wolves win. But if we can get a draw, if we can get a 1-1, I'll be over the moon. I think it'll be a big point because we've had Liverpool in the cup yesterday. Then in the league it's City Liverpool, and
And
it
then
which
Liverpool,
that's tough.
yeah,
So
tough.
yeah, that's not ideal to be honest. So, but we just got to try our best in them and try to get something out of the games. If we can get a point there and then, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
It'd be a big point. And yeah, that's my thoughts. I think for score prediction wise, I'll go probably 2-0 City. I hope they don't.
yeah,
I hope we hold our own and they don't, wallop us sort of
yeah.
thing. So what are you saying, Bill?
So yeah, my lineup's pretty similar to yours actually.
Mhm.
I've gone for a 4-3-3.
Yeah,
I've gone for obviously Sarr in goal,
yeah,
Kilman, Collins, Semedo, and Bueno.
hmm
I think these past couple of games, Bueno's played class. It was
yeah,
a hard decision, don't get me wrong, because I think Aït-Nouri's played really well. With his like attacking sort of threat, he's sort of just like come out of the woodworks with his
yeah,
skills and stuff. Like at Villa, that was a mad run that he
yeah.
went on.
That
I
run,
thought was
yeah,
quite
yeah,
impressive. And then I've
crazy.
gone for Neves and Nunes definitely, but I can't really pick out of Martino or Lamina. To be fair, I would probably put Lamina in. To be fair, give him
Yeah,
a
yeah,
run out and see what he's got in the locker because it could just be Neves and Lamina sit and then Nunes in sort of like that number 10 role, that kind
yeah.
of role. I'd
Possibly,
quite
yeah.
like to see that.
hmm
And yeah, I think Traore on the right, just sort of as an outlet, like we did at Liverpool. We'd get the ball and just switch it out wide for him, and he'd start running at them and crossing the ball in, which is
100%.
really good to see. And then I'd have Cunha and Podence on the left. So yeah, pretty similar lineup to be fair. I think it is the same lineup, but
Yeah, I think it is.
yeah,
It sounds very similar.
yeah. So yeah, that'd be my lineup anyway. And score predictions. I hate being biased or negative. I'd obviously love a Wolves win, but with City's lineup and who they've got up top, I can't really see that. But
Yeah,
I'd honestly be over the moon with a draw, like you said. A
yeah.
point would be
I think it.
massive, absolutely massive. And against Liverpool, a point would be massive
mhm.
because they're not easy games. I mean, I know Liverpool are in not the best form, but the standards they've got, it would be a massive point, as well as obviously City. So yeah, but I think I'm going to go 2-0 City. I don't want to say that, but I feel like we're just going to sit back the whole game and they're going to dominate possession. Personally,
Yeah, they'll definitely dominate.
like what we did at City when Raul got sent off. We sat back really well, and we went on like a counter attack like last minute, and Kilman nearly scored that header.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those games. It could be an Adama game again. You never know. But
we'd love that when we had 2-0 Adama brace.
That was absolutely brilliant. But I don't know if that will happen. But you can only hope that does happen. But
yeah, I'd love
if
that,
it happens,
to be honest.
it happens. But I think as I say, 2-0 City. But it would be. I'll be over the moon for a point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're going to end the podcast off on Instagram questions. We usually rush in at this point, but
yeah,
I think we have enough time. I could be wrong. We could get cut off, but I hope I don't. So I'm actually going to go one by one, and we're just going to answer some questions. I'll say my thoughts, and then I'll pass it over to you. So starting off with R. Gummery, and he says, "What's happening with Gomez? Are we still signing him?" So we've sort of covered that. We've sort of told you the latest situation on Gomez. Yeah. And when it comes to are we still signing him, I'd say right now it's probably 70-30 that Leon's signing.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And we only know so much.
Yeah,
if we knew anything, we'd tell you straight away. But yeah, with the Gomez signing, it's so hard to tell. You don't know, and even the player himself doesn't seem to know. So
no, it's true.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dodgy situation.
Definitely, it's a weird one, to be honest. Because I don't think, as you said, I don't even think he knows. It's crazy. News on Gomez, we've done that. A lot of questions on Gomez. Are we signing Gomez? That sort of thing. Yeah. A bit of a different one here. And it says, do the constant bad refereeing decisions make it more difficult to maintain an interest in football?
To be fair, that is a good question, because we all know Wolves are getting horrific decisions at the minute. I thought the ref yesterday was...
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned him. It was poor, wasn't it? Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah. And obviously, we can just go. We could be here all day speaking about this, but if we go back to like the Liverpool game and everything like that, like
even Forest, where we should have had a pen from Nunes.
Yeah, with the penalty and the boot coming off, and Neves running over, showing him the boot, and that wasn't even enough. Yeah. I think we're just... I think the FA is just against us.
I get the question, and I'm very frustrated with all the decisions, but I don't think he'll make me lose interest in football, because I love my club. And who do you think Wolves will sign next? That's from Tyler Cooper, 3732. Who do you think Wolves will sign next? I actually think it'll be... I hope it's João Gomez, but I think it'll be probably Craig Dawson. Is my prediction right now. And then we need a striker. I don't think we're going to get a right back, because I think Semedo sort of stepped up his performances. And then you have Dexter to cover, and I think they quite rate him, and obviously John. Yeah. So I don't think we'll sign a right back. I think it'll be a centre back and a striker. And I hope it's a good striker. I hope it's not sort of... I'd take Danny Ings, but I want a bit more exciting. Do you know what I mean? I want someone a bit more exciting. Someone young, almost not like the Villa are signing, someone a bit more proven than that. But you get what I mean? Some of that young mould that... I understand we have a Fabio Silva, that's going to go on loan eventually. He was at Anderlecht, and he's gonna come back and then go on loan to another team, because I think he's fell out with a manager or something. But for me, I don't know, maybe like a Muffy from Lorient, or a Nicholas Jackson, who could be going to Southampton. Yeah. Just someone of that build that's young but also got quality and can just come into the game and make an impact. I don't want someone that's washed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think? Any ideas who we could sign next, or anyone?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, really. I mean, we've been heavily linked to Craig Dawson.
Yeah.
Which I think would be a great signing, because he's got a lot of experience.
A lot, yeah.
And it'd be good to have someone like him in the dressing room, or just as a backup in general. Obviously, I'd love to sign João Gomez as well, but that deal is just... nobody knows at this point. Yeah. And I know we were linked. Was it Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well? We were linked to.
Yeah, we was linked with him. Yeah,
we was linked to him. But as I say, as you were saying, Semedo's obviously upped his performances quite well. Dex held his own yesterday, and he had a good performance against Liverpool as well. So I think, and obviously Johnny as well. So I think in that department, we should be all right. But I couldn't really hit a nail on the head who we would sign. But if it was anyone, it'd be Craig Dawson or Joel Gomez at the minute with the links and stuff. So
Yeah, I think I'd agree. Let's go on to the next question here from Matt the Eyes, I think that is. He says, do you not think we should have flown someone out? So Matt Hobbs, he says, to Brazil to try secure this João Gomez deal, because obviously Wolves haven't got anyone negotiating with Leon at the minute. And if we was to fly someone out to South America, maybe they could up their transfer fee or secure an agreement with Flamengo. And yeah, I think I sort of agree with that. To be fair,
I agree. Yeah,
I think you could easily do that, and I think we could get him if we was to do that, because the player, as you said, Bill, earlier, the player wants to join Wolves at the end of the day, and he wants to go to the Premier League. So it wouldn't take too much convincing, but yeah. And this one from Lionel Massey, why do we seem to get bullied in the transfer negotiations so often? What do you think?
well, it's a tough one to say, really, but he's got a point. I mean, I'm sure he's going on about the João Gomez one.
Yeah, he does mean that. Yeah,
but
definitely.
yeah, I mean, it all comes just down to prices, really, and wages. And it could just be down to the player, whatever the player's feeling. I mean, the player could obviously really want to join Wolves and play in the Premier League, but if he could also be there like for the money and what's best for him. So if Leon are offering more wages as well, it's like a no-brainer for him, really. So I agree with what the guy's saying with the whole situation, because it does seem like that.
Yeah, I think I agree, to be fair. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the João Gomez situation? We've answered that, Cam. With the sign of João Gomez failing or falling through, who else do you think we could sign? We've sort of mentioned that.
Yeah.
What do you think about our finishing situation? Is it more of a personnel issue? I assume that means scoring goals and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would agree when it comes to personnel, but I also think it's chance creation. I think, don't get me wrong, I don't think Jimenez and Costa are long-term solutions, and I don't particularly rate them both at the minute.
Yeah.
But they haven't really had that many clear-cut chances where you think, Christ me, you've got to score that. Do you know what I mean? They've not really had any of them. And I think a lot of that is down to sort of they're quite immobile. They're not really wanting the ball. They're sometimes hiding, maybe poor touch. But I also think it's down to the chance creation. And we just, as a team, we seem to really struggle creating good chances. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't really, can't really say much else. It's we just not scoring, creating chances. So yeah, I can't really say much more, but agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I
just agree.
Yeah, for me, as I was saying earlier, I want someone that can make a running behind, because none of our strikers really have that.
No,
Like a striker that you just whip the ball over and they're just running behind, burn the defender. Someone that just can make runs off the channels, that sort of thing. We haven't really got that. They sort of always want to come to feet, and then once they link up the play, they ain't even in the box.
Yeah.
And then I think the last question is from my mate Abdul. Shout out you, mate. Love you, Abdul. What do you make of Fosun's investment this transfer window? Do you reckon Lopetegui has had a major role in some of the signings? I think Fosun have got their critics over the last few seasons, rightly so, because they haven't invested some. When, for example, that Bruno Lage season, where if we invested and got a few more signings in, we could have pushed for Europe, and not sort of fell off the way we did. But yeah, I think you can't really blame them. The last few, they've invested well. Maybe not the right players, like for example, Guedes not working out, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned Guedes, but it's not going great for him. I think it looks like he's going to be leaving. But I can't really fault Fosun when it comes to investment. I think they made the wrong decision appointing Scott Sellers, but they made the right decision sacking him. I think
definitely.
he's not the only issue, but he's a big part of why we were so poor with negotiations, that sort of thing. And Lopetegui, when it comes to his role, I couldn't agree more. He's he's got big pull at the end of the day, big manager, a lot of European pedigree. And he has had a major role in signings, especially someone like Sarabia, who he's coached at, the under-21s, under-18s level. These players know him and they know how he works. And 100%, he's had a very big role because, joining Wolves at what 18th. It's not really that attractive, but with Lopetegui, it's become quite an attractive option. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, no, agree. Obviously, Fosun with their investment, it was a few years ago. Wouldn't say years ago, but few
Transfer
years
windows
ago.
ago.
Yeah, a few transfer windows ago. That's the word. We weren't invested heavily. I remember what the transfer window where we signed Collins. I think it was. We were so relieved. I remember speaking to you about it. We were so relieved that we actually
the
signed
summer,
someone.
the summer,
Yeah.
Because Collins come out of the blue, don't he? And
and we
it
were
got
so
a bit.
relieved that we actually just signed someone.
Yeah.
But no, I can't fault Fosun at the minute. They make it, they're the
Spending money,
players that
aren't
they're
they?
bringing
And
in.
I think
Yeah, they're
they
spending
have
money.
to at the end of the day. Like they know that if they don't, we could go down and they'll lose a lot of value in the club. So they're sort of doing it out of for their own sake. But at the end of the day, you can't really, we spent a lot and we still need to spend more. So
yeah, and the whole Kuna, activating the prize for him and stuff, and
a lot
then
of
now
money.
the Sarabia deal that's been in place. Can't fault him, and I feel
Lamina
like
as well.
Lamina as well. Sorry, I forgot about him. I think Lopetegui's attracting the right players, and I think with him at the club, it's gonna attract more players. And when they look at Wolves, they're gonna think, okay, Lopetegui's there. If they're playing under him and stuff, he's gonna persuade them to come, or his football's going to attract them. So I can't fault them, and I'm happy with how it's going. It's just hopefully we can maybe sign one or two more players.
Yeah, we need a few more, don't we? But anyway, thanks a lot everyone for listening to this podcast, episode 5. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Bit of a different one with me and Bill today, but we got on really well, and I've really enjoyed it. To be fair, it's been a good podcast.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
Make sure you check out the other episodes if you haven't already. Be sure to follow us on all our social medias. We've got a TikTok going at the minute. Wolfpack UTW, so Wolfpack up the Wolves, and it's going really well. To be fair, I've really enjoyed producing content on it, and it's going really well. So be sure to follow that. I'll link everything in the description, and be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.